Hey everybody, it's Candy, aka Brown Eyed Girl 69. How y'all doing today? Well, today happens to be November 11th, 2024. Happens to be a very significant day for me and my co-host behind me here, Daryl Dog Short. And I'm going to share a story about me and Daryl, dog, and why this day has a lot of significance to me. But before I go into that, I gotta give you a little bit of a backdrop. Kelsey's dad passed away October 30th of 2002. By summer of 2003, I had a friend that told me I needed to get out and socialize more. And I started going to karaoke at this place called Pastimes. It was a bar. And soon enough, I became a regular there and was going to karaoke at least 2, 3, 4 times a month. I was meeting people, socializing, etc., etc. I would say by fall of 2003, I had a mental breakdown where Dawn was concerned, and I cried out what I wanted from my heart and left it at that. A year later, I was at work one night, and it was a Thursday night. It was a Thursday night, and I worked from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. that night. That was my short day. I worked for Walmart, and my mom always watched Kelsey for me. Kelsey was 5 and in kindergarten and almost 6 years old. So my mom always watched Kelsey for me on Thursday nights when I'd go to work, and then she'd take her to school for me the next day. And I was always off on Friday and Saturdays. So if I wanted to go out Thursday night after work, I could do that. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. It just depended on how I'd feel. That particular night at work, I was feeling alright, but I was sort of tired too, so I was kind of undecided if I was going to go to the bar or if I was just going to go ahead and go on home. Well, to go to the bar, I had to turn right, and to go home, I was going to have to turn left. And at the last minute, I turned right and decided to go to the bar. That night when I got there, and it was on November 11th, 2004, so this was exactly 20 years ago today, I get to the bar. I remember walking in, and the place was packed for a Thursday night. I was pretty shocked. I was like, wow. I was seeing like a Saturday night crowd on a Thursday versus, a Thursday night crowd, which sometimes Thursdays could get busy, but this was the busiest I'd ever seen on a Thursday night when I walked in at like 11:30 p.m. Most all the tables were taken and all the bar stools were taken, except for one. So I walked up to it. The bartender, her name was Donna. She knew me because I was a regular. She knew what I liked to drink, which was a Coors Light in a bottle and a flaming Dr. Pepper from hell shot. If y'all don't know what a flaming Dr. Pepper from hell is, it's basically a half a cup of beer. Then you take a shot glass, and the basic is Amaretto and Bacardi, 151. But Donna put a little bit more into it, and she would do Amaretto, root beer schnapps, and Bacardi 151. Laced with it. And 151 had the ability to catch fire. So then the bartender could set fire to the shot glass. Then you take the fire shot glass, drop it into the beer, chug it, and it tastes just like a Dr. Pepper. Really, seriously. But now they don't make Bacardi 151. Bacardi 151 does no longer exist. So I guess I'm glad to say that I was able to experience that. So anyway, that was my drink that I ordered. She set me up. Well, I sat next to this guy, and on the other side of this guy that I sat next to was another guy at the end of the bar. The guy next to me, when I sat up, because Donna's like, yeah, come on, girl, come sit up here. I'll set you up. I was like, cool. And the guy started talking to the bartender. And then when he seen what I was getting, he was kind of curious because I guess he'd never seen anybody do what I was about to do. And he watched me. And as soon as I did it, drank the shot, set it back down, I was like, oh yeah, it tastes good. He's like, remind me not to go drinking with you. That's what he said to me. I go, oh, you're a lightweight, eh? He goes, yeah. He goes, it's the first time I've ever seen a woman kick back a shot like that. I go, well, I guess there's a first time for everything. He's like, hi, my name's Mark. What's your name? I said, oh, my name's Candy. Nice to meet you, Mark. And he goes, well, hey, Candy, my name's Mark, and this is my buddy Daryl over here. Daryl. I go, hey. Daryl's like, didn't say anything really. So a few minutes go by, me and Mark's just chit-chatting about basic whatever, general BS. And he asked me, he's like, so do you smoke weed? I go, oh, yeah, I definitely smoke weed. He goes, well, I have a house that's like 2 or 3 blocks from here. Daryl's my roommate. If you want, you can come over and smoke some weed with us after the bar closes. I was like, okay, cool. So we'll make a little party of it. I was like, how about we stop at the store and pick up like a 6-pack or something? And he's like, yeah, that sounds cool. So that's what happened. After the bar closed, we stopped at this little convenience store, bought some beer, and then headed to Mark's house, Mark and Daryl's house. I didn't know their backstory at all. I didn't know anything, as to how they were roommates or any of that. Yet. Yet. Anyway, I basically get to their house. Mark tells Daryl to roll up a joint. I sit into this chair that was a chair that was a queenly looking chair. It was very elegant. And it was sitting in the corner between a couch and a love seat. Or no, it was a couch, the chair in the corner, and then there was like a table next to there. Yeah, that's what it was. And so I asked Mark when I first came in, I was like, so I can sit anywhere? He goes, yeah, you can sit anywhere you like. I was like, you in that chair? And he was like, oh yeah, if you want to sit in that chair, that's cool. And I was like, awesome. A chair fit for a queen. Those were my exact words. Mark starts talking about Daryl's abilities to play the guitar, and that they had a video of him playing the guitar in a live situation at another bar that was in Oklahoma City. And so Mark encouraged Daryl to put the videotape in. And I immediately was enthralled with this man's musical abilities. And once we watched the video a little bit, Daryl started talking. He was very quiet, basically, up to this point. I mean, he said a few things, but nothing major. But after the video played, I started asking him questions, and he just started opening up and started talking. as to how he got into Oklahoma, shared me his story, basically, of his past. Not his whole story, but just a portion of it. I definitely was intrigued by his story, I guess. I thought he was cute. I thought he had these beautiful blue eyes, and the energy that he put off was very attractive. I don't know what else to say. Him and his housemate Mark, they was getting ready to go up to Michigan for like some deer hunting thing, even though that wasn't Daryl's thing, but Daryl was basically just tagging along. And they were leaving the next day. I even offered Mark, he had a dog, I even offered Mark, I'd come up and take care of the dog for him, and he's like, nah, we're just going to take her with us. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, we still exchanged phone numbers. And during that week that they were away, Mark did call me. I tried to call him one time, but wasn't able to get through. And then he called me back, but dialed me. And then I think I attempted to call him one more time from my phone to his phone, and he actually answered. Called me back or something, and then he said, hey, you want to talk to Daryl? And I was like, yeah, sure. So me and Daryl was talking, but Daryl could barely hear me because they was in this bar called Shaggy's up in Michigan. I can't even remember where it was. I asked him, when are y'all coming back? He goes, well, we should be getting back Friday evening into Friday night. He goes, but we'll be back before the bar closes. And I was like, well, come up there if you can. I'll be up there waiting on you. And he's like, okay. I was like, in fact, I might even have a friend from Mark to meet. I want Mark to meet this friend of mine. And he was like, okay. So I got her involved. And we met them that night. Me and her both went back over to Mark and Daryl's. Partied with them. Got way high on some stuff that they brought back from Michigan. And that was it. My friend, Joey, started seeing Mark, and she lived there not too far away from them, and so she was able to be there more frequently. Occasionally I would talk to him on the phone, but I never really talked to Daryl. I was just talking to Mark and Joey. But I was telling Joey how I kind of felt about Daryl, even though we hadn't seen each other since that last night. And that was on like November 19th, I think. And then Thanksgiving came and went, and the beginning of December was about to roll around, and it was the 1st of December of 2004. And there was an incident that happened and took place. And Daryl basically wound up coming to my home. I lived in the town I live in now, Purcell, but I lived in a different location with my daughter, whom was 5 and in kindergarten. And I lived in a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home. And he wound up coming to my doorstep due to a series of situations. I was giving the guy a place to come to regather thinking. Him and Mark had a blowout, basically. Mark's actions were unacceptable, and Daryl felt unsafe, and my friend Joey drove Daryl down to my home because that was the only place that she knew of that would be, quote, safe in her mind. And she already knew how I kind of felt about Daryl, so she knew it wouldn't be a problem. So she basically called me up and asked me if I wanted visitors, and they wound up coming down. Daryl never left. I was with Daryl from that point on, December 1st of 2004. before. From the moment he walked into my door, he never left. He never left my heart. He never left my physical presence, other than when we were separated a few times later on, you know. That was all 20 years ago. The only thing I ever wanted in this life was some sort of longevity in a relationship with someone. But I never achieved that. I never achieved that princess meets her prince fairy tale romance kind of thing. Where you meet the love of your life when you're in high school, marry him and have children with him and have grandchildren and grow old together. I never got that. Even though I think somewhere in my mind I wanted that, but in my heart I don't think I truly wanted that. In my heart I think I wanted to experience as much about life as I could, however I could, you know. My first husband was a lesson to me as to what I didn't want. My second husband was going to be the one that was going to be the father of my children. And then my third husband was going to be the one that would lead me to the road to my awakening. And the last person, me, myself, and I. They all led me to the path that I needed to go on. And someone's there with me through that, you know, and walked it with me. Me and Daryl had the longest time together. We had 13 years together. We achieved 13 years together in 1 month. And in January of 2018, he passed away. Since January of 2018, and he passed away, my life started changing like this. Whereas before he passed away, he and I was both homeless. Well, we were homeless, living in a tent in Southern Oregon, and had been there for about 2.5 years. I'd left a couple of times and returned. He'd left once and returned with me the last time we returned together. We had just came back Labor Day weekend of 2017. We basically was trying to supply up and prepare for winter coming. 2017 into 2018. It was still mild in comparison. We hadn't achieved really any snow or anything yet at that point. When he passed in January 2018. As soon as he passed, the community immediately surrounded me in so many ways. One opened their home to me. One gathered other people with more resources. And the community came together and gave me an opportunity to regroup, rethink, and start the grieving. The community came together. I stayed with this one lady for about 3 days. And in that 3-day period, the community came together, raised money for me, and also got me a hotel room for a week there in town. And it was a nice little hotel. It was a nice little, like, cabin-esque type. Where I had access to a shower if I wanted to take a shower every day, which I did, trust me. After being homeless in the woods and only getting a shower once a week, getting to take a shower and sleep in a bed and actually feel like a human again, really did something for my soul. During that time frame, I was able to talk to a couple people, and my 2 choices was to either come back here to Oklahoma or stay and move to Portland, Oregon, in with a friend and get a job and get on my feet. Well, that's what I did. I did the latter. I started integrating myself back into sort of societal expectations, but not 100%, but enough to where I felt like I could survive and do it all on my own if I had to. But being outdoors and doing all that on my own 100%, there's no way I could have done it. There's just no way. Daryl was my dog. He was my friend to the end. He was my bestest friend. He was my partner, my lover, my awakener, my confidant, my soulmate, my twin flame. He was everything. He was the actual opposite of me in lots of regards. We had a lot of connection, energetic connection, not in just one specific way. He definitely was somebody that I created, as far as like the energy of what I needed, what I wanted, what I craved, what I desired. Which I can share more about that later because I've rambled on for 20 minutes now. But yes, on November 11th of 2004, I met Daryl Dog Short 20 years ago. Today's it's a very good day in a lot of ways. Lots of ways. I'm going to make the best of today, actually. I'm off work, so I get to kick back and relax. I go back to work tomorrow, and then I get 2 more days to kick back and relax. And those are the days that I really probably look forward to the most. Those midweek days. I'm going to start trying to do a little bit more updates, a little bit more stories about my life, just like I did, you know. If that interests you, hey, great. If not, I guess that's okay too, you know. That's what I am, though. I'm a storyteller. I've always been told that I should write a book. Well, in all honesty, I'm too lazy to write a book, so I just tell stories about my life instead. So in a way, my life is my book, you know. I don't need to write a book when I live my book, you know. The journey of a lifetime. Perhaps that's what I'll title this, and then I'll just have stories from the Journey of a Lifetime playlist. I do have an album titled The Journey of a Lifetime over on Facebook. If anybody has my Facebook information, I've given it. It's under Brown Eyed Girl 69. Same insignias here on YouTube. Same on Instagram. Same on Twitter. Even though I don't really utilize those platforms. Yeah, you can search my name, my call sign, up on Google. I am on Google. So there is information out there about me and my social media and whatnot. Comments I've left on other social media sites years ago. If they're even still around. I've seen stuff before, you know, but it's like whatever. Anyway, much love to you all. Thanks for sitting and listening to my ramblings about my life. Peace, love, hugs, nugs, all that good stuff. And as Dog would say,